You're back with us on Salam Britain for a morning full of inspiration and education, inshallah. Now with us in the studio is Macy Byers, who studied ballet from a young age. She trained professionally at the Royal Academy of Dance, and this later led to her founding and directing Grace and Poise Academy.
Macy reverted to Islam and became passionate about offering ballet to the Muslim community in an artistic and unique way. Assalamu alaikum, Macy.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got here okay this morning?
Yes, yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
You know,
Not too
London
much
traffic,
delays.
London public transport. So let's get straight into our conversation. We would love to get to know you more and about Grace and Poise. So when did you first get into ballet? Let's start from there.
I started ballet when I was about 2 or 3, I can't quite remember, and trained my whole life as an extracurricular activity. I took it more serious as I got older, and then I went to the Royal Academy of Dance at the age of 18 and did a degree in ballet education.
Wow.
So alhamdulillah, it trained me to a professional standard of ability, but also to be able to educate from 2 years to professional level. Alhamdulillah.
Wonderful.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
It's always good once you go and study something, isn't it? Because
Have
you
the
take
strong
something on as a,
foundation.
you have
Yeah,
a passion for something, so you find that you're good at it, you have a natural talent, but then you go and study it and it actually gives you the kind of the science behind it and, the actual, the actual
Yeah,
profession.
the strong foundation of whatever you're passionate about, right? So well done.
Thank you so much.
So did your actual idea for the Muslim Ballet School come after your conversion?
Yes, definitely. I was working in many ballet schools, sort of training girls that would want to do ballet just for long life well-being, but also girls that would want to take it seriously professionally. So I had that sort of spectrum of teaching. And I was also working choreographically as well. So I was directing a small ballet company just to explore myself creatively, producing work and trying to kind of explore that alongside my teaching. And when I converted, I actually felt I wasn't quite sure how I would navigate all of that anymore for various reasons. But I also started to kind of delve into, well, hang on, there's not very much here for the Muslim community. As a new Muslim myself, if I had grown up as a Muslim, perhaps I wouldn't have had those opportunities. And how can we model it in a way that doesn't compromise anyone Islamically, but allows girls and boys to celebrate, their Islamic identity through education and through experiences that promote that positive Islamic identity.
I'm really interested how you actually even started to come up with this whole concept of integrating, our Muslim lifestyle with ballet and not kind of sacrificing any of our Islamic values.
Yeah, well, I had to kind of put it apart a little bit and think what were the main barriers. So one would be the modesty aspect for girls as they grow up. So for example, we have classes for boys and girls up to the age of 6, and then we have girls only from 6. And the reason we do that is we go into Islamic schools as part of their curriculum within PE, and they agree with me very much that with the early years, it's very, very neutral in terms of building fundamental physical skills, coordination, control, all of those aspects. And then something that we've explored as well is we work with poetry rather than music. And for those that listen to music, well, that's absolutely wonderful, but actually we're experimenting with different ways of working. We're exploring poetry, which has an Islamic heritage as well and helps educationally. But for those that don't listen to music, then there's not any barriers there either. So we have that open space to kind of include everyone. But in that process, we find that poetry is really educational as well. It allows them to reflect, engage with sort of storytelling, be more expressive as well through movement. So the main bits were how do we work with the modesty aspect? How do we work with, controversy over music and sort of being inclusive for everyone? And then how do we kind of navigate long term? So if girls become passionate, the biggest question I had was, if they want to do this as a career, only a small percentage will, but we don't want it to be a dead end. And so I decided to start writing a degree programme. So inshallah, we'll train up our own teachers. And in the same way as I'm teaching classes and running the academy, and I'm, alhamdulillah, not compromising myself, they should be able to do the same and be able to follow it through. So if we ever do any performances, they're ladies only watching and things like that.
So they are opportunities, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're not sort of cutting it off and say, do it up until you're 9 and then that's it. We've modelled it in a way where the girls are safe, and we're playing things very safe in the way that we offer classes to make sure regardless of people's opinion, they feel that this is a space that is welcoming for everyone.
I
really,
love how you managed to find that balance as well, and using the poetry, the spoken word,
and integrating everything so wonderfully.
Amazing.
And kids love it. I heard, I've read lots of amazing reviews about Grace and Poise. You've done really well, mashallah. Seriously, congratulations.
So what kind of makes your school different to the typical ballet school that's out there already?
Well, the main thing would be the use of poetry, really.
Yeah.
And interestingly, when I was teaching with music, because that's the classical way of working before I converted, to help the children remember what they were doing, we would use certain imagery or visual sort of aids or little rhymes to help them remember the content. And then we'd put the music on afterwards and they'd put it together, but it helps children in the learning process. So what I started to do was think, okay, what are they learning here? What imagery would support that development? And then I use the imagery and put it in the poetry, and I give it a natural rhythm to support the dynamics of the movement. So I actually write all the choreography first, and then I write the poetry to fit specifically the movements afterwards. And that's the main way we're different, apart from what I've mentioned about, ladies only watching and those modesty values.
See, I write, and I'm always fascinated with, when someone comes up with a product, like how they actually started the journey. So this is the end product, and the start of your journey is like, it must have been so incredible. It's like, where was the starting point, right? And then,
so much thought has gone into how can I get around, all these barriers and stuff. It's just good. It's really beautiful, mashallah.
Yeah. So were you ever, so now you're teaching children.
Yes.
And you mentioned about potentially these children will obviously grow up and want to do more. Will you be expanding to perhaps offering adult classes?
Yeah, inshallah. We would love to do classes for adults as well.
Yeah, do you want to sign up?
Well, we do from 2 years to 12 years at the moment, and the only reason we stop at 12 is just because we're naturally growing.
Yes.
And we found there were fewer girls in their teenage years to make, full classes, and they have to go to beginner levels, and we can't mix them with the little ones. It's a bit intimidating. So we're sort of slowly building, but the intention is to go all the way through to adulthood. So somebody grows up with us, if they just, go and do something else with their life, they're a doctor, they're an artist, whatever that may be, they can do ballet for long life well-being, physically, emotionally, socially, cognitively as well. But for those that want to pursue it, inshallah, there'll be that progression as well professionally.
Okay.
Great.
That's amazing. So your 3rd anniversary is coming up. 3 years in the business so far. Well done. So you're currently in 6 locations in London. Are you looking to expand outside of the city?
We are, and we've got some exciting news that we are planning to open in Birmingham, inshallah, from January 2022.
Wow.
So we're slowly getting there, trying to expand across the country and hopefully internationally as well. But the big step first is Birmingham. So we're doing a trial day this Saturday, the 4th of December.
This Saturday, 4th of December in Birmingham.
In Birmingham.
Okay.
At the Midlands Arts Centre. So
wonderful.
In your diaries, guys.
So if anyone wants to book and come and visit us this Saturday, that would be amazing. And then we will be looking to open officially from January, inshallah.
Right.
So, mashallah.
Now that you're moving, you're moving out of London, right? You're going to Birmingham, and inshallah, that's, the start of something bigger for Grace and Poise, inshallah. But what's next?
The main thing that I am fascinated by is the concept of living Islam, not fitting it in. And, there are so many benefits with ballet, but on a much deeper level, we're raising children. And it takes a village to raise children.
Yes,
we all say this all the time. But, educationally, we want children not to just go to the mosque and take those teachings and then leave them there, but actually to be living them every day, implementing them, and being passionate about their deen, really embodying that Islamic identity in a really, really proud, positive way. So what I'm trying to explore is how to get children to engage with stories of prophets, with positive Islamic messages, but in a way that is fun, exciting, dynamic and creative. So I've just started writing a series of books telling stories of prophets, but through the eyes of a little girl called Grace, hence the brand Grace and Poise. So in a nutshell, Grace is a little girl aged 5 who is exploring her life and troubles that she faces as she goes along. She then looks to her Quran, has that relationship with her Quran, and then takes the stories and applies the teachings to her own life.
That's amazing.
So
Seriously.
that's what we're trying to explore. And the book Grace and the Story of Yunus alayhi salam should come out in spring 2022.
So the book's finished.
Yes,
it's completed. It's just waiting to be released.
Yeah, we're hoping to release it in spring, and we will be doing workshops. So where I grew up doing, I'd go to the Nutcracker, watch the Nutcracker on stage.
Yes.
I'd do the workshop. I'd buy all the merchandise, Swan Lake, whatever it may be. I thought, how are we going to start putting ballets on stage to inspire children? And what stories do we use? Do we just replicate what's already there, or do we look for stories from our own,
which is more original, right?
Exactly. Yes. And also, Allah wrote those stories. They're the best of stories, so why not celebrate them? And there's so much to work visually with in terms of putting it on stage. You can imagine with Yunus alayhi salam, the whale, how do we depict the sea? And obviously we don't depict any prophets themselves, but actually being able to tell the story through ballet and poetry helps children to really engage.
Wonderful.
Engage
That's amazing.
positively.
Well done. Seriously,
Thank
we're
you.
very impressed.
Not only a ballet teacher, but a author as well.
An
It's amazing.
author. Congratulations.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Expansion is the key.
We got some clips of everything that you do at Grace and Poise. Oh, we've done that actually. So let's go back to the group of children that you're teaching, the age group.
Yes.
So you mentioned 6. Are you planning to expand it 6 or is it 12?
We start at 2.
2?
So literally they're waddling into the room, but they're like sponges. People don't believe me, but they absorb everything, mashallah.
Yeah.
And then it's girls only from 6. We allow little boys and girls from 2 to 6 years, and that's both in our evening school and in, we go into Islamic schools as part of their curriculum within PE. And then when they get to 6+, it's girls only, and they need to come outside of school, and we have those girls only classes.
Right, now I'm clear of the age groups. All right, so we are going to go to a short program, and when we come back, Maisie here is going to help us get into some modest ballet positions.
Interesting.
Good luck, us.